This is the Nightshade Cult, a podcast macabre.
We bid you welcome, enter freely and of your own will.
I'm Nick Grimm.
And I'm David Graves.
We will be your horror hosts for this dissection of Ryan Coogler's 2025 Southern Gothic crime horror, Sinners.
Good evening. So we're going to go through and spoil the shit out of this movie and have a nice little conversation about Sinners, which is something that's right up my wheelhouse, but I didn't see it until literally yesterday.
Yeah, it's... what was going on? We had other stuff on the schedule at the time when this came out, and it just didn't... We kind of missed it in the moment, and then maybe thought maybe it was too late, but then it dropped on Max, and there was... it was time to get back to it. It's back in the conversation.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and admit it. My prejudice about this movie, the reason I didn't seek it is because I don't like the guy who's famous for comic book movies and Creed. I didn't really enjoy Creed, and I don't enjoy comic book movies at all. I did like Black Panther, the first one. I didn't even bother with the other ones because I don't like comic book movies. So I was just like, it's the comic book guy's art project.
Boy,
I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and say I was wrong because I went and I did my diligence because I was trying to check myself. Like, was I right to have avoided this? No, I wasn't right. But also, all of his movies are super highly rated on pretty much every platform. Yeah,
he's the most successful by box office director under 40 out there.
And his Marvel movies just destroy the other ones.
Yeah, and I think, Black Panther, at least the first one, the second one I could quibble with a little bit, but the first one is obviously, it's top 5, one of the best Marvel films. And Creed, I mean, if you didn't, go back and watch Creed again, because that movie's great.
Yeah. I mean, I probably should now that I kind of have more of an appreciation for it. Yeah. It's also it's one of those deals where it's interesting because he's worked with Michael B. Jordan kind of
everything
over and over and over and over again. And I also have a negative opinion usually of that sort of thing because I almost always think there probably was a better person for the job, but you chose your homie. Yeah. But in this case, no, I don't know if that's true.
It's often compared to Scorsese and De Niro, or which has morphed into Scorsese and DiCaprio, who's kind of replaced Robert De Niro with a slightly younger Italian American,
and I don't even remember the reference. But when someone asked him about that, he referenced Kurosawa and his leading, he was like, that's kind of the vibe. I was like, oh, okay, that's a good reference.
I've never thought about that, but Jordan's got a Mifune quality to him. I can totally see that, like, he can be funny, he can do action, he can be cool.
I do really like how so at first, again, with my first impressions being bad takes, I was like, oh no, he's playing twins. This is almost always bogus in every movie. Like, I can't think of a movie where someone plays two roles and I liked it. But I was as the movie went on, I came to really appreciate the two characters as distinctly different. Like, I'm a big fan of Smoke. I like his I don't know, he's just kind of a no-nonsense tough guy. He just kind of gets shit done. Yeah. And
the older brother.
Yeah, the big brother, He kind of wears his trauma, he walls himself off, and he's kind of like a bastion, whereas Stack is like, he's like the funny guy, the laughing guy who presents with a smile. Yeah. And they're really distinctive performances.
Yeah, and how distinct they are just becomes more and more clear with every viewing. Because I think the first time I watched it, especially in some of the nightclub scenes, I would get a little confused as to which, especially if they don't have their hats on. Yeah, when they take the hats off, and I'd be like, oh, which one is this? Now, like, that I've seen the movie several times, it's like, I know just from body language which one is which. They are completely distinct.
In some of the behind the scenes stuff, there's a body double guy who plays. I think whenever he was in the scene, he was playing Stack. I believe he played one, but not both. Okay. So the body language would be more, I guess, a little more straightforward. He only had to imitate Michael B. Jordan one time because he's not that guy. He can do one imitation well, and he did, and so they filmed a lot of stuff with him, and then expert digital effects putting the face on. But there are a lot of the scenes, almost half, where Michael B. Jordan did both roles. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
And it's you're like, how's this going to work out? And they do like. Very early on when we're introduced to them, a move where they pass a cigarette between each other. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I'm good. I can rock with this.
Yeah, and there was no body double. That was one guy. So that was all digital magic, putting them together. Passing a cigarette back and forth.
Yeah, it's so smooth, and you're like, okay, broad daylight, you can have them interact like this. This is going to be fine. And you just lock in.
Yeah, I saw some really fun people trying to compare this to other movies. And the best ones I saw, on YouTube, somebody called it Django Unchained plus Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah. I was like, that's pretty cool. That's good.
I've told most people when they were like, what's it like or what's it about? I said, it's like Dusk Till Dawn if Dusk Till Dawn was about anything.
Yeah, that movie's not about anything.
Yeah, it's a good time, but it's not a deep thinky movie. Like this has a lot on its mind.
Yeah, that's why I think Django Unchained is a good one because it's about stuff. It's about racism. Yeah. It's in the South, and then you add the crazy vampires on top, so it's pretty cool. So they made this for roughly $100 million. They quote 90 to 100, and then it has thus far made $365 million at the box office. I'm sure it'll make even more. And this is lots and lots of movie reviewers are calling this their best of the year so far. So that means it'll make even more money. So interesting.
And I'm hoping we talk about this all the time, how the Academy has a bias against genre. There's definitely, at least for technical awards like cinematography and score, this movie needs to be in the conversation when you get to Oscar period.
Yeah, I think that Autumn Arkapaw pretty much, I don't know, this movie was art. Just the way she shot it and the way it was all spliced together with the use of so many different film formats and all this stuff. Like, yeah, she was pretty legit, and we'll get to the audio stuff. I have a lot to say about that. And it's so far, like that was probably avoiding this movie was my worst take of 2025. So I'm glad that
we're glad we finally rectified that.
We rectified it because obviously I loved it, and I was just watching to decide if it's a 4 or a 5. I mean, it's pretty much that's where it's at. And anybody who's read any of the reviews or hype is probably just in that space automatically. Yeah. I don't see how anyone could rate this as a 3 or lower. It's just not that.
I saw a real like sort of bad hot take on Reddit this morning when I was kind of looking at things where someone was like, I think it's just that movies have been so bad that people are saying this is a masterpiece because it's really not that good.
It's really good, but there are a couple things I don't like. Okay. And so that's why I'm it's not Blade Runner. Oh. So
yeah, well, that's true. I've seen Blade Runner at least 3 times. So
I've seen it a lot more than 3 times. I'm gonna watch this again though, now that it's free on Max, and it's one of those ones where there are so many Easter eggs and just little things that you might not have noticed. And it's kind of an ensemble cast. There are people doing things in scenes that you probably weren't looking at the first time. And I only know that because I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos talking about little things like that. Yeah. And so now I just got to go see it again.
I put it on this morning with the idea I would kind of putz around the house and work on my notes, and it would just be on in the background because I've seen it several times already, so I don't need to sit down and watch it. But anytime I paused it, anytime I left the room, because I didn't want to miss anything, even though I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah.
So we're getting pretty deep into this. Why don't we roll the music and get into dissection? A notorious pair of twins return home to Mississippi after time away in Chicago and at war, with dreams of opening their own juke joint. Unfortunately, their cousin's music attracts more than just partiers.
This is a really cool setting because there's so much happening historically in the 1930s.
Yeah,
we're in the Great Depression. We're post World War I. We're at the tail end of the Prohibition, and you have all of these World War I veterans who are kind of not sure what to do with themselves.
Yeah,
especially the returning Black World War I veterans that had expected to be hailed like their white counterparts were, but they weren't.
Yeah,
they were essentially, their valor was ignored, and so they were treated not worse than non-veterans, but as though essentially they weren't veterans. They did not have that elevated social status.
Yeah.
And so this is, and of course you have all of the stuff from the South, Jim Crow era, all that stuff. So it's like, this is such an interesting time period to choose. I'm really glad that they did that, and also the research. You can tell everything was considered.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that as a history buff.
Yeah. Ryan Coogler, written and directed, edited by Michael P. Shaver. You say research. Coogler is one of those guys. Like, he's a scholarly director, and he does his due diligence before doing a project and while working on a project. And we've kind of been bouncing around between different flavors of auteurs over the last few episodes.
Yeah.
And, I'm coming more and more to just really admire these people like a Ryan Coogler or Edgar Wright, like people that dial the whole damn thing in before making the movie and have everything thought out in advance, as opposed to like your David Lynch, whose seat of his pants approach catches magic sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
But and like when it catches it, it's amazing. And then there's a lot of stuff that just sort of works well enough to tie it together. The architect type director that really builds the movie from the ground up, it's just really impressive to watch when someone's doing that really well.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to distinguish that when you have that architect style director who is also kind of a visionary creative, not just a spreadsheet wrangler,
right? Because that's boring in its own way.
Yeah,
too.
We've all watched boring ass movies that are all authentic history stuff, but this has so much life in it.
Yeah.
And part of it, I think, is that Coogler is such a cinephile himself.
Yeah.
He blends the genres. He loves vampire movies. He talks about it in multiple interviews, his favorite ones, and he loves gangster movies, and he likes musicals, and there are like almost shades of a Western in here.
Yep, for sure.
And a very late period Western, but yeah, and so it's a genre-bent, truly American story.
Right.
It couldn't be set anywhere else in the world. It just wouldn't work. This is really tied to the research, but it's not fully beholden to it. It's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
So,
and it's like it gets anachronistic when it needs to, and because it's so rooted in the authenticity in the time period, you can stretch with that. You know what I mean? And you can go there when it needs to bend the rules a little bit.
Yeah, and they do a little bit of show or a little bit of tell when they are talking about the various multicultural crossroads of myths of people who are like fire talkers at the Choctaw.
In the prologue at the beginning.
Yeah, and how this is couched in these... this mythology, that there are people of their myths and legends in all these different cultures, African culture, Choctaw, Irish, etc., that have people who can essentially they're like the lore keepers, and they can almost sing magic. It's like a mystical person who has these abilities. And so I guess you just assume, okay, well, we're working with that as a premise.
Yeah, and that these storytellers, when they pierce the veil, that when you open the veil to the spirit world, it attracts both good and bad spirits.
Yeah, for sure.
And because of the way the movie is paced out, because it immediately goes into the sort of Blues Brothers kind of getting the band together part of the story. And
I always kind of like those, it's assembling the adventuring party.
Right. And it's 42 minutes. I paused it and looked at the timer before Rimmick shows up.
Yes.
And you sort of you've had 42 minutes of this is just sort of like a gangster movie in the 30s. I know what I'm working with, and you forget it's a vampire movie until Rimmick shows up smoking with the Choctaw on his ass.
Yeah, and I'm loving the gathering the party because I like all of these unique characters.
Oh, yeah.
They're all so interesting. Like their little cousin Sammy and Slim.
Delta Slim,
And I love the Chinese friends,
Bo and Grace.
Yeah, and that's so cool that they did that. And I think a cynical person who isn't a nerd for history could think, oh, they're just throwing in some random diversity here, blah, DEI, this and that, like all the jackasses say.
Right.
But there is such an important historical community of Chinese people in the Southwest and the Deep South.
Yeah, and the Mississippi Delta.
And these people were there, like for real. And running a store is what they were traditionally doing because black people weren't allowed to.
Yeah.
They were, the Chinese people were societally, socially relegated to less than whites, but greater than blacks. And yet, of course, they don't like being considered second-class citizens. Just because a third class exists doesn't mean they like being second class.
Right.
So they, of course, were allies with the black people. And so having that in there was actually, it was a surprise to me, and I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, and we talk about, there's a little bit of tell, don't show right at the beginning where we set this up. But from there on out, it's show not tell for the most part.
They don't explain the Chinese people.
So they've got two stores, one on each side of the street, and you just have to observe this, that there's a white side of the street and a black side of the street.
Yeah.
And they send Lisa, the little girl or teenage daughter, they send her across the street to go fetch Grace from the white store. And it's just because she can move symbolically, she moves between the two worlds. And that's a theme of the movie, right? This duality and moving between two worlds, that is both true very much in their secular, mundane world. There are two separate worlds and the spiritual world also.
Yeah. It's really cool how they did that. There are so many themes that they touch on in this movie. Yeah. It's like, it almost made me wonder, did he do these? Did he write all these things out beforehand and decide, we're doing this and doing that and this? Or did they just sort of kind of create it as they were going? But no, they did it all. It was all intentional. None of this was kind of on the fly.
I think, though, when you're writing a story, and you're a writer, so you can attest to this, themes reveal themselves as you're writing.
I think every writer is a discovery writer, no matter how much of a plotter they are, because you come up with cool ideas in the story, in the telling of the story.
Yeah, and then those ideas sometimes, I see it all the time where the person's not even really aware of what they're doing thematically until someone else points it out to them.
Sure.
And it's just kind of how, when you put all the pieces together, what they reveal how they reveal themselves.
Yeah, there's like there's a strong religious aspect in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Sammy is preacher boy. He's the son of the preacher, and there's a whole scene near the beginning in the church, and then again at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty straight up, very predatory view of Western religion and Christianity as a tool of colonization.
Yeah,
both,
I mean,
on the enslaved African people and on the Irish people, that comes up later.
Absolutely.
That was pushed on them and used to control them.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing, because Sammy's father is basically saying, you need to deny that whole part of you.
Yeah,
you need to erase that part of your existence,
or assimilate it into the church.
Yeah. Have it be praise music, not
party music.
Yeah, not party music.
Or sad music, or just anything other than glory to God.
Yeah.
Praise white Jesus. And I mean, we'll talk more about that in the performances, but Saul Williams, that plays Sammy's father, his father was a preacher. And so, like, I mean, just because I'm a big fan of his, like, I had that knowledge going into it, and I was like, oh, this is his dad that he's up there representing. And like, yeah, that's such a small performance, but I really love that performance.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. And it is kind of a small piece. It's like it's a very bit part, but it was done really well.
Let's see, what else for themes? You mentioned Jim Crow, the wages of sin, and unheeded warnings.
Yeah,
Sammy gets lots of warnings, like either from his father, if you keep dancing with the devil, he's going to follow you home. He gets warned by Perline. She says, careful, boy, you're going to bite off more than you can chew. Like, Sammy gets warned so many times, but is caught up in the excitement of following his cousins around and playing music.
And Annie warns everybody all the time, nobody listens to her ever.
Well, until shit pops off,
and then she's the authority.
She's the subject matter expert, and no one questions her. It's something that I really appreciate about it. It's like, all right, you're a witch. What do you know about this? You're the only person who knows anything about any of this stuff. And she's like, garlic, wooden stakes. She just starts coming out with the vampire lore.
I do love that they go straight up like Stoker traditional.
Yeah, which
I like that.
I mean, that book is out. It's the movie. What year is this set in?
32.
32. So Dracula's out.
Yeah, the movie Dracula's out, right? Yeah. The first one. So
that's in the lore. People know about this stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that Coogler, he could have made up his own rules. He could have changed stuff. You can always do that stuff. And he could have also explained Remick more. I kind of want to know more about Remick.
Yeah.
But I think the movie was already dense enough, and it's that they didn't need to. So by leaning on traditional vampire tropes that we all know, that the characters would know in universe,
it just lets the audience lock in.
Yeah, it lets you just sort of settle into the idea. Okay, they can't come in without being invited. The sun will get them. Yeah. Garlic, steaks, all this stuff. Yeah, bullets and knives and stuff. That's not really going to kill them. You got to do a lot more.
Yeah.
And so I think that choosing to go traditional was the way. It was the right decision.
Yeah. So you brought up wanting to know more about Remick, and one of the other elements that everyone always wants to know more about is the Choctaw vampire hunters.
Absolutely, they're there, and then they're not,
and like they're so intriguing, and it's this weird, which would have been very common in the time, mix of people on horseback and in a car. And so you're just like, I want to know more about these guys. And they're on his ass. Like, if he hadn't found those rednecks to take him in, they would have done him up before the sun went down.
Yeah, and the Choctaw and the Irish people have a historical connection that goes back to the Great Famine, when, of course, all of the people, Ireland, not to make this a lecture about the Great Famine, but
this is good information.
Basically, there was also a famine in Belgium of a very similar nature because of the strain of potato, the Irish lumper, that was a really, really fast grower. But then the blight hit it, and it affected all of them. And so the people were starving in both countries. But Belgium, they basically just turned all eyes to feeding and housing all the people who were suffering. And so their losses were, I'm not going to say minor, but significantly less.
Right.
In the thousands, not millions. So during this mismanagement and this class warfare where the rich in Britain were punishing the Irish by letting them die, there were a lot of philanthropists, like the Queen herself. She gave money. She was the largest single donor to charities, church charities and stuff, helping those people. But one notable donation was from the Choctaw Indian tribe in the United States. They all gave all that they could. Some is near, like around $200 from the entire tribe, and they sent it there for food relief. And in Ireland, there's like a huge monument to the kindness of the Choctaws.
Interesting.
And so
when he says, I thought I could trust them, like there's a reason why he sought them out as a people.
There's a reason why they're Choctaw and not Sioux. Because the Irish and the Choctaw, they've been bound for like a century.
Interesting. That's interesting background music. Music. I'm thinking of music because... it also ties together in the music because when Coogler was on Mark Maron's podcast, he was talking about how Choctaw music and Irish folk music are ingredients in the blues, and how like these cultures are all intertwining and influencing each other.
Yeah, and the inclusion of these cultures, like the vampire being Irish, randomly, why Irish? Because they're victims of social oppression and religious oppression and economic oppression. They were brought over as not chattel slaves, but generally indentured slaves. Servants, So they were under many of the same conditions as the enslaved Africans that were, and the freedmen. So it's like really a cool allegory. Like this isn't like Louis and Lestat, feeding on slaves. This is a lot different. These are people that see eye to eye. This is more like a Ryan Coogler brought this up. This is not like a rich vampire on high. This isn't a Count Dracula. This is more like the Lost Boys. Yeah. And these are vampires who are very humble.
Sir, we believe in equality. Yeah. No, I love all of that. And maybe it's just a product of, you mentioned comic book movies, this sort of shared universe IP storytelling that we're so used to, that we think everything needs to be spun off and like, do a prequel about Remick and do this and that. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just better if you don't know, and the wondering is part of the magic of it.
Yeah, if this was based off a novel or a book series, I could see maybe the wild success leading to dramatizations. Yeah. But this was written specifically to be this one film. Yeah. Anything else would be forcing his hand.
Yeah. It is, although it is open storytelling wise to tell more stories.
Spoilers. Yeah. One of the brothers survives. He
doesn't live. Exactly. But this is the right category because this is storytelling. I think they both get the ending that they want. They both get their happy ending. They both get to be with the woman they love forever. And that's ultimately, that is the happy ending. The sad ending, I suppose, is for Mary's husband in Arkansas, whose the wife just never comes back.
Well, yeah, Mary's a sinner, and so is Pearline.
Yeah.
His name is Sinners. These are adulterous ladies, and it's just is what it is. But yeah, I mean, when Smoke has to kill his own wife because she gets made a vampire, and he promised her. But then, then he passes and he gets to go with his baby and his wife in the afterworld.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's, other than that the two brothers are separated, I think they all kind of get their happy ending. Well, you point out, not Pearline. Pearline catches a raw one in this, unfortunately.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't. She doesn't get a
But you're
happy
right.
ending.
It is a wages of sin thing because she was being adulterous.
Yeah, she was. All of these people everyone in the movie is a sinner.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
So are we all.
Like that is, if you believe in that sort of thing.
If you even believe in sin. Yeah. But the movie definitely does.
Absolutely.
We talked religion and power of music, I guess, is that's
probably one of the main things in this movie is music. It's from the very first prologue thing all the way it's a through line the entire movie.
The music is magical. And crucially, like the final shot, not counting the two stingers, is Sammy driving off clutching the guitar.
The neck.
Yeah, the neck of the guitar. Yeah. Because
I'm glad they didn't actually destroy one of those Dobros.
That vintage guitar.
Yeah. Because there's only 3 of them in black in that color in the world. Yeah. And so they bought all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the music was mostly written on one of them. Ludwig Göransson still has all 3 of them. Yeah. So
and but his dad calls him there in front of the congregation and wants him to renounce his sinning ways. And it's so fucked up. He's not like, "Are you all right, son?" Kid's bleeding, filthy, just ran there. He's not, "Are you all right?" He takes the moment to, now while he's vulnerable, I'm going to get him to renounce his ways.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Sammy fucks off out of there and goes to Chicago.
Yeah, I don't know why Sammy went to the church in his time of need, because there's nothing there for you.
Yeah, but I think he had to see it. It's just like 28 days later and 28 years later, people run to the church first. When things go bad, you're like, the church will offer me sanctuary. That's what it's supposed to do. And the church shamed him. It did welcome him, but conditionally.
Ugh. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how they kind of tie Sammy in with the Robert Johnson story of sort of selling his soul for the guitar power. That's sort of an illusion through the whole thing. Like, this music is going to bring joy, but it is also a ruinous power.
Yeah. Well, Smoke says that, right? He says, "I've known a lot of musicians, ain't none of them happy."
Yes.
And it's like, he doesn't want this for Sammy. He tells him, go to the church, go play church music. Don't play blues music. You have options because you have the preacher father. You have a road into that world.
Absolutely.
Are we moving on to visuals?
I was just saying that we would be remiss. We've mentioned it a little bit if we didn't specifically say that this is this movie has a heavy discussion of racial violence, the KKK. Like, you could call the vampires the villain of the movies, but I think the KKK are the actual villains because the vampires, like, Remick really just wanted kind of like a communism. Like, he's kind of a cult guy.
Yeah.
He's not doing what he's doing out of hate.
No, I mean, literally, he is doing it out of love and communion.
He wants to share his gifts with Sammy, and he wants Sammy's gifts to be shared with him.
Yeah.
Because when he makes a vampire, part of him becomes part of them, and part of them becomes part of him.
Right. And he wants to be able to connect back to his ancestors the way Sammy's able to.
And the same, he wanted Annie's powers, her abilities as a hoodoo practitioner, and that's why she couldn't let that happen.
Yeah.
And so, like, whereas, Remic's he's definitely not a good guy, but he's understandable. I cannot say the same about the whole KKK mob.
No, and it's, they make a crucial decision to not have them show up in the robes, but to have them just show up in their respectable, normal attire.
Yeah.
Unmasking them, so there's not this sort of like, when you have them in the robes, they're almost like a mythical force. But when you just portray them as a bunch of Peckerwoods, and they come in there and all get machine gunned down, just as weak, shitty people, it's very satisfying. Like it's super cathartic way to end things.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely worth saying explicitly that this movie is about race.
Yeah, and you get the impression through storytelling that this isn't even the first time they've used the old mill to do this. Yeah,
it's a killing floor. Like that's a place where they have murdered people. They may even have done this same thing where they sold it to someone to rip them off and then murder them.
It seems like it because when they're inspecting it before they buy it, they say, "You cleaned the floors? Why? What was on them?"
Yeah, I wonder.
And so that gets paid off then later on in the story, and it's fuck the Klan, man.
Yeah, but we at Nightshade Cult have a very brave take. We do not like the Ku Klux Klan.
I mean, more and more, I think it needs to be said specifically because you can't take it for granted anymore.
That's true.
All our, least loved hate groups of the past are all sadly relevant again.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
But you mentioned this, and I wanted to piggyback off it. I don't really think of Remick as a villain at all. I mean, he's the antagonist of the story.
Yeah, he's definitely an antagonist, but he's not a villain. He's kind of like Michael B. Jordan's character in the first Black Panther movie.
Yes, the understandable antagonist.
Yeah, you're like, I kind of get what you're doing, but you're a bit of a dick.
Yeah, I can't let you do it. I can't let you do it, but I do. I understand and validate your motivations. Let's talk about visuals.
Yeah,
cinematography by Autumn Durald Arkapaw. You mentioned it already. Fuck yeah!
If she doesn't at least get a nomination for an Oscar, that would be insane.
She is the first, and as far as I know, only woman to hand operate an IMAX camera, like on her shoulder. They're big and heavy, and that's no small thing to carry it around and hold it steady.
Yeah, one of the videos I was watching said she's the first woman director of photography to put out a movie in IMAX. Period.
Crazy. Yeah.
I guess director of photography, not a lot of them are women.
Well, yeah, that's something we need to fix because she's incredible, and she was a cinematographer on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. She's one of these. Most of these people are returning collaborators for Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, he had a window of opportunity to make this movie, and so he didn't really have a script several months before they began, and so he saw this window and he was working with his team and basically wrote the script, ran it by his wife, who is a movie producer and kind of his sounding board. And she said, this is great. You should move forward with it. And so he gave it to all his people. And then they were like, boom. So he worked with a lot of the same people. And a few of the people who were on his other projects that weren't on this, it's just because it was done like, we're filming it these dates. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Yay or nay? And there were some nays.
Yeah.
But like he was really, really interested in working on the practical effects guy, Michael Ralla, who did all the vampire makeup and all that stuff.
I'd say the name I have is Michael Fontaine.
Oh, is it?
For special effects makeup design.
But maybe I wrote it down wrong.
I might have. Well, and there's a lot of people on these teams, and so you might have caught someone that I missed, but they were in one of those documentaries. Regardless, both Michaels. Killing it on the effects, the special makeup effects. It's very reminiscent. Obviously, you think of Near Dark when you see the vampires in this, and Salem's Lot. Like, it's a very particular kind of 80s vampire almost.
Absolutely. They definitely look the part. I love that it's lots and lots of prosthetics on these people. And one of the things that was kind of new for this movie was a practical effect for that cat eye gleam. They used contacts for that were handmade. Each contact was hand painted and made
to reflect light.
Yeah. That was not a digital after effect. That was done in the scene.
I was wondering about it because it doesn't read false in the way the digital effects can. It feels realistic.
Yeah, it follows the real lighting in the scene because it's an actual reflection.
Yeah, and Rimmick has the red eyes. Everyone else has kind of a yellow eye. All of the subordinate vampires.
Yeah,
and I think that's a really cool effect that marks him out as the elder of this clan of vampires he's assembling. That's a really cool visual element. Production design was by Hannah Beechler, costume design by Ruth E. Carter, and art direction by Jesse Rosenthal. And I think these are all people that worked with Coogler on the Panther films and Creed.
Yeah, the costume design stuff was extremely good. It was so in depth. They were having hand tailored suits made with particular cloth to play off of another character or another moment. And both Smoke and Stack had extremely curated outfits down to the kind of leather in the belt that they wore.
Yeah,
it was extremely extremely nuanced costume design.
Every time talk about like these people that have a scholarly approach to what they do. Every time I see an interview with Ruth E. Carter, she's so knowledgeable on textiles and the types of stitching and all of this stuff. Like, that girl knows a lot about how clothes are made.
Yeah, I work with, I wouldn't say work with, in my reenacting community, there are a lot of ladies that I talk to like her who are, a little bit older than us, and really, really knowledgeable. They just have this massive accumulation of knowledge about this particular topic. But then it would be like, us asking about that, it would be like them asking us about like a nerdy, like a D&D or a comic book, or, so it's like you're going to become a master of what you spend your time on. And she's a fashion person.
Yeah. And and the clothes are just gorgeous. And there's just and just more and more is revealed the more you watch it. Like Sammy's vest, it's all patched together, and
the denim is in varying states of distress, and it's all authentic. I really like indigo dyed denim, so it's proper.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's every choice has a story behind it. You can see, like, when you look at this is his like stepping out suit that he wears because he's a sharecropper. He's kind of got two outfits, right? His Sunday clothes and his cotton picking clothes.
Yeah,
and you can just see like that vest is just held together on hopes and prayers at this point. But it's like nicest thing he has.
Yeah, and some people might
loved at the same time. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. And some people might not understand why. Okay, these guys are sharecroppers. They're not enslaved. Why would they only have 2 outfits? Because a lot of people don't understand the way that sharecropping was done. Because obviously at this point we're well after the abolition of slavery and all of that. But what they did was they would essentially parcel out land, and they would let a family farm it, and then they were responsible for turning in the crops to the landowner, and then they would get their portion of the profits. But the way that business was operated in reality is it kept the people essentially in peasant status.
Yeah.
They were like serfs from the medieval age.
Yeah.
They were so poor. They some of them had lower standards of living than their enslaved parents and grandparents did, because it was economic indenture at that point.
Right.
You couldn't afford to leave, and staying meant you barely eked by.
Yeah.
And so these people who like the idea of making a wage by working, being a bouncer at night. Okay, this.
Yeah, and you get paid U.S. dollars instead of plantation script.
Yeah, that comes up because somebody buys a drink with some plantation script, and of course, Smoke is not about that. But Stack is, and I believe it's Annie are like, you got to let these people do this.
Yeah, and that was one of the moments, because it's where I think on my original viewing I was confused as to which brother, because it's Stack and Annie, and so I was thinking that it was Smoke, but Smoke is the no nonsense.
Yeah, he's the tough guy.
Yeah, he's not the people's champ. Like Stack is a man of the people and a smooth talker, and understands, especially for this first night, we need to build loyalty with these people, and taking the plantation money will do that.
Yeah, and sort of perspective-wise, if you have a no-nonsense, hard-nuts dude like Smoke, it's going to take his little brother and his estranged wife to talk him out of, like, kicking that guy out.
Right.
And so they do.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, that's more storytelling stuff. But it is also in the visuals, because, we see, like, the wooden nickels and the plantation script, and that was a phrase you still, like, our grandparent generation would still use when we were kids, that don't take any wooden nickels.
Yeah. Smoke learned that one.
Yeah, and I had, like, probably not actual vintage ones, although maybe from my grandma. I had some wooden nickels as a kid, and I don't really know where they came from, but
probably
they were
worth
just
money at this point.
Yeah, I know they come back around. They were worthless, and now they're worth money again. Yeah. Well, I never get rid of anything, so they're probably in the attic.
They're in a box somewhere.
Yeah, but I never really understood what wooden nickels were until this movie. Like, I was like, oh, that's okay. That makes total sense.
Yeah, where that money
comes from. Yeah, and it's just a way, like you said about indentured servants. Like, it's a way to keep you on the plantation. This is good at the plantation store. And we can maybe sell things at cost in the plantation store, and you have the illusion of getting a value.
But a good deal, yeah.
Yeah, but actually we're just not paying you, and yeah, it's super crooked. It's Jeff Bezos' dream, wants to get us back to this.
I was going to say, this goes all the way back to the late 1800s when they were doing this in factory towns and mining
coal
towns,
mines,
where you stayed in a company tenement, and you were paid in company money, company store stuff. It's the same old capitalist playbook. This is an economic means of oppression, because the law says you can't literally enslave them.
Yeah.
You'll just do it with crippling deals and contracts that you never get free of.
Right.
So it's just another form of oppression, just like the Irish were done dirty the same. They were sharecropping in Ireland prior to the Great Famine.
For the Queen or the King? I guess is there a king then?
I believe it was Victoria was queen at the time.
Okay.
But it could have been Elizabeth, but I'm pretty sure it was Victoria.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's just economic oppression, and I love how they show that in with the props and all of that. Another thing I was gonna say with regards to like real stuff is they built that wood mill juke joint from the ground up. Like they constructed it. It was a real place. It's not just like a on a back lot or whatever. And they they also built the grocery stores. They also they built so many. The church is a place that they built.
Oh wow, yeah.
And so that's how you could have these kind of meticulously crafted scenes, because the places were real, and you could get camera angles all around, and they had these crazy rigs where they had Michael B. Jordan wearing like this thing on his chest, so he's surrounded by cameras, so they could get reacts from every direction, 360, and so it's
so they have the digital scanning to use for the face replacement.
Yeah, and all of the background for those shots is all a real place. It's not just green screen, so it can all be sort of patched together.
So when you're doing things digitally, it still feels real because it is all real stuff. It's just assembled digitally.
Yeah, I think that at a certain point, if you go all digital all the time, it just feels like a cartoon.
Yeah, which is, not to bag on Marvel, you probably did enough of that already, but it is the major failing of those movies is they become like video games.
Yeah.
And I even think that about parts of Black Panther, which I think would be a flawless film if it wasn't for the Marvel machine components of it. Like if it was just a Michael B. Jordan joint and didn't have to service Marvel also, I think that would be a much better film. And this movie reinforces that for me, because I was like, this is what he's capable of when he's not serving someone else, when he's just serving his own vision.
Exactly. And then the last thing I had for the visuals is I always love lighting. I always have to say something about lighting.
Yeah.
The thing I love about the lighting in this movie is almost all of it's practical.
Yeah.
They include the stolen electricity. I love that little scene, how they jack the electricity line, and then they have the what we call them Edison bulbs these days, old style lights, and it's all in scene. And so the shadows cast, they feel right. Yeah. And it just I don't know, the lighting in this movie, it reminds me of Fight Club, but if it were, it's not hyper modern with pale fluorescence. It's all warm, incandescent, but it's all extreme lighting, and in scene.
And even when you're outside and what you would call natural lighting, and it is still... it's so vibrant and, like that.
They filmed in the summer. It was over 100 and clear almost every day.
Yeah, the movie, I've said sumptuous. I don't know else. It is, you can feel how hot it is. You can feel the people sweating in their clothes in this movie. Like you can just see it and absorb it in such a tactile way.
Yeah, they're really sweating balls, in every scene, and so you don't have to simulate that. They're not spritzing people to make them look sweaty.
Or we filmed in winter, and everyone was actually freezing, and we digitally removed the steam from their breath. No, this is just hot Mississippi. Or did they film in Arkansas? Or I don't know. I know they're not in Clarksdale, but they're not far from Clarksdale where they filmed it.
Yeah. I didn't catch that one.
Yeah, but it's the lighting, and it also goes kind of noir or gothic lighting. There's a lot of half shadowed faces.
Southern Gothic is one of the sort of tags on this movie.
Or completely shadowed faces where you can just see the eyes.
I do like the silhouette stuff they do in this movie.
Yeah, you see that with when Remick is singing Rocky Road to Dublin out there, and everyone's dancing around the bonfire. And it's in the Panavision, it's in the 70 millimeter, the wide frame. You cut back to the people in the juke joint, and then when you come back to Remick, it's gone IMAX, and the screen is tall. And some of the times his face is completely obscured, but just for those red eyes.
Yeah.
And it's just super effective. I don't know if that's, I'm sure it came up in some of the stuff you watched, that the red eyes are inspired by Death and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which great movie. That is a great animated movie from a couple years ago.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and it's not, you wouldn't watch a kids movie, but it is a really good kids movie, like exceptional. And Death is proper scary in it. He's a wolf, and his eyes glow like that, like the vampires in this movie.
That's pretty cool. As far as visuals, there was one visual that was whack as fuck, and so we should. I mean, it's not even worth bringing up in what didn't work for me, but that snake looked so fucking fake.
Oh, the snake is very clearly fake. Yeah,
that was whack. I was like, dude, this movie's been so sick, and then that.
It is weird. We're in an era where you can't use live animals,
and
for
there's
anything
not even
anymore.
a speck of dust on that snake.
Yeah,
it's just like it's floating.
That I've got no argument. The snake. It looked. I thought watching it at home and not like huge.
Yeah,
I found it more forgivable than in the theater. But that snake does look like a digital asset. It does not look like a real
absolutely
animal.
Like, and I say that with a smirk because there's so little to complain about.
Yeah.
That when you see something that takes you out of it, you're like, whoa! Well, I was in deep, and now I'm out.
I like everything about that sequence, though. Like the jump scare gets you. I think the jump scare works. I think Stack with his knuckle duster knife pulling that out and handing it over to Smoke and Smoke stabbing it is really good. It tells you a lot about the brothers and Preacher Boy's reaction. But yes, total digital snake, and there's no denying it. I think that's the revenge of that snake they killed in Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore. No, there's no more actually killing a snake for cinema. We do a digital asset snake.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
It surely looks fake. I will agree with you.
So let's talk about the audio. This is a pretty... In some movies, we kind of gloss through this because it's just whatever. But in this movie, the music is super important.
Yeah. And so I knew that Ludwig Göransson and not Michael B. Jordan, and Ryan Coogler always collaborated with each other. I didn't realize they were college roommates. So like they're real bros for real. Like,
yeah, you can tell, like, there's several interviews where they're hanging out. You can tell these guys are very comfortable with each other.
Yeah. Well, they before they shot this movie, they road tripped the Blues Trail, the two of them and Ludwig's dad, who's a huge blues fanatic.
Oh, yeah. That's who taught Ludwig how to play guitar, because his dad's a blues man, and then he learned blues, and then he kind of rebelled by becoming like a heavy metal guitar player.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. We all know Ludwig Göransson is great. He's one of the best young composers, I think, out there.
I mean, you don't even really have to qualify it with age. He's just one of the best in the business.
Yeah, but it is remarkable he's under 40. You know what I mean? Like, because, I don't think there's anyone in his age bracket working at the quality. He already has 2 Academy Awards, and I think he's going to get another one. I think he's going to get a 3rd Academy Award.
He's got a future in this business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, someday it'll be like John Williams, where, you know, he's an 80-year-old man and trying to retire, and they're like, one more Black Panther movie. Come on, Ludwig. They're like, we need you to come back for The Mandalorian 9 or whatever.
We need Wakanda X.
Yeah, like they're gonna drag him out like the way and he'll be like John Williams, and he goes, I'll do one song for that movie, and you have to find someone else to do the rest of the score. Ludwig is crazy in the sound design by Steve Bodeker. This is one of those movies where the music, the score, the sound design, the soundtrack are all in concert with each other, and all intertwined beautifully.
Yeah, he wrote the main themes for the. He wrote a theme for each major character, and he wrote them all on that 1932 Dobro Cyclops resonator guitar.
Yeah,
he wrote them all on the same guitar, so they would all have like harmony, and he played almost all of the music on the same instrument, and then they used one of the clones, not the clones, there's only 3 of them. They used one of them in the film. And he was often on site, and he said there were several scenes where he was essentially live DJing the scene. So they were doing the scene to the music that he had composed.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, borderline the movie is a musical at points. I mean, I've definitely heard people make the case that it's a musical, and I don't think it quite crosses the threshold to being a musical.
Yeah, but there are several musical numbers.
It's as much a musical as it is a Western, though. Like it does borrow from that genre.
For sure. Like, and when you have Sammy, played by Miles Caton, who singing for real.
Yeah, and he had not played guitar before being cast in this. He learned to play for the movie.
Yeah, he said he was taking the train down to Philadelphia and learning from a blues guitar teacher. He said he went every week and spent an entire day learning and practicing, and then he would practice in every day between his lessons. Yeah. And he said by the time he had got, by the time for the movie, he was really comfortable with it.
Yeah, and it shows, like, to the point where he can improvise. Like, if Michael B. Jordan is like, you got that guitar in your hand, play something, and he just plays. Like, it's like, okay, I can do that. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's this is, well, we'll talk more about him in performances. That is also very impressive. I don't know what to say about this. The sound, I was hearing new things in it today watching the movie. Because there's no, I was by myself, so there was no interference, and there's so much like dialogue that is audible, like that just random people in the group scenes are saying, that I've just never caught before watching it in my quiet house, and you don't have to do that, like. That's not at all necessary to give actual audible dialogue to the random extras in these scenes. It's a next level of immersion and realism.
Yeah, I really think that they did some amazing, I guess you call them soundscapes, where it's like a tapestry of sounds. Like people talking, ambient sounds from the environment, kind of the bustling of a vehicle going by in the distance. They really they were able to weave these things together and kind of create a convincing environment that's lived in.
Yeah, you feel like you're there. And the scene I was thinking of when I said that is when Lisa goes across the street to get Grace from one grocery store to the other, and you're listening to the black side of the street, the cars, and then transitioning to the white side of the street. And I caught a well-meaning white liberal that says, not that I'm not sympathetic to the colored people or whatever. It says something like that. And I was like, I've never heard that bit of dialogue on any other viewing of this movie. Like, and it's like, there's just so much of that.
The sound design is really good, and some of the choices that they make are interesting. Like when they, in that scene after the smoke goes out and he paid the girl to lay on the horn, and he shoots the guy in the butt, and then he shoots the other guy in the knee. And after each of the shots, for just a little, like, I don't know, maybe like 1 to 2 seconds, it's almost like everything is muted a little, and then it goes back to regular volume, like what happens after you hear a gunshot and your hearing is shot for a moment, and then it kind of comes back. And also the scene itself, the people are quiet, and then they start talking again. But it's almost like the gunshot shoots, and then they roll the volume knob down, and then they slow roll it back to max, and it's really cool.
I don't know if we have any cultists from outside the country, but in America, this is something that happens. You hear a gunshot.
You stop and you listen.
You stop and listen, and you do a little assessment. Do I need to duck and cover?
Is this close?
How close is it? And it is not something most of us think consciously about, but it is just a product of living in America. We have guns.
Yeah, and since anybody I know who is in the military, I immediately identify the caliber and type of weapon, like will that pierce walls, that kind of thing, because
what kind of cover I need to take is a real thing.
This that was close. That was a high caliber rifle. Okay, let's get downstairs.
Yeah. So like what you're describing, like the way everyone is quiet and they're like, oh yeah, it's just those N-words across the street doing this, and everyone just goes about their business because it's it's Mississippi in the 30s.
Yeah, it's just cool sound design, and it's weird because it's like they're doing I wouldn't say weird, it's very interesting that it feels like this weird historical piece, and then as the movie gets further and further, like into the third act, you're basically like, okay, now this is like full horror movie. Like the music is like, it's like modern, like kind of heavy.
Yeah, it goes thick. Gothic metal at times.
and it's like you got these jarring effects, and like the vampires make vampire monster sounds, like, and you're like, wow, this is like, we went from like, Delta blues guitar and like soulful singing all the way to this.
Yeah, it does. It's like, it's almost like Ghost or something like that. It was like it does this ominous music. But if I'm thinking like playing it in my head, Ludwig is still plunking on that.
Yeah,
on that
it's
guitar.
still present.
There's still that plink, 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 and he's plucking the strings and getting that almost like a piano sound.
I really like resonator guitars. They have a really cool, almost natural distortion because of the metal plate, and those ones are made of wood that they use. But there are some that were pretty common that are made of bell brass.
Yeah, there was a fully metal one in the house band, like someone else was playing one.
I want to get one of those, like a bell brass resonator.
I see. You don't have one over here on your guitar rack. Yeah,
that's
true.
Could
you could use one of those. Is there more to say about the sumptuous sound design?
I think that's about it. We can get into the performances. This will be fast.
Okay. We just glaze all these people. Who do you want to start glazing first?
Michael B. Jordan is the star twice.
As Elijah Smokemore and Elias Stackmore, the Smokestack twins.
Yeah.
All the interviews, Coogler always talks about how every neighborhood has the twins.
Yeah.
And they had a twin consultant there on set to help them with their twin body language and all of that. And it's two just great performances. Like there's something I heard the twin consultants say about how they know that the fact that they look alike is unnerving to people.
Yeah.
And so if they're friendly with you, they try to always be within eyeshot of each other so that you can keep track of who you're talking about or who you're talking to. And if things are not friendly, one of them will move out of your line of sight. And they do that in the movie, like when they're at the negotiating to buy the mill, and the guy that ends up being the Grand Dragon of the clan, he calls them boys, and one of them circles around back. Then
all of a sudden, Stack is behind him.
Yeah, and it's just like it's very subtle, but you can see how he gets nervous and he starts backpedaling, like I overplayed that. I need to keep them calm. Or I'm going to find out how, someone cleans the blood off the floor of this place. Yeah.
I like how, so Michael B. Jordan, in several of the interviews, he talked about how it's really important to know everything about the characters' lives before the movie. He needs to know the whole backstory. And so, like, these characters are really well thought out, and they really inform the performance. Smoke was born, and then Stack was turned sideways, and his mother died in giving birth to him. And so their father basically abused Stack over it for killing his wife. Yeah. And so later, as they're grown up, Smoke actually kills their father defending his brother.
Yeah.
And so they both each killed a parent. And it's sort of the way that they're played. You got the little brother and you have the big brother, even though they're twins.
Yeah.
And so they're really, the way that he kind of embodies those concepts with his body language, the vocal delivery, and all of that, it would be I don't know. It would be easy to cheapen it and say it's easy to tell the difference because they have a distinct fashion sense from one another.
He wears red and the other one wears blue.
But really, they could both be wearing exactly the same thing, and you could tell who they are just by the way that they move their body, even if he didn't talk.
Mm-hmm. And there's so many, like, the way Smoke is up on the gangway, watching everything, like a hawk while the party's going on. And when Stack wants to sneak off with Mary, he's constantly like, where's my brother? I don't want my brother to see me flipping off with you. And it's when Smoke gets called away because there was an altercation in the gambling room, and that's when Stack slips away with Mary.
Yeah.
And it is crazy that it's just one guy playing both parts, because the way they interact with each other is so intricate and well considered. I've always loved Michael B. Jordan, going all the way back to The Wire when he was a little kid.
Absolutely. The Wire is awesome.
Yeah, he's generational talent, and I totally get it why Coogler always works with him.
Yeah, he does. He makes good movies, and he's a real movie star.
He is, and in the sense of, you will go see something because of him. You know what I mean? Not because of what it's about or who made it. You're like, oh, it's got Michael B. Jordan in it.
Yeah, he's kind of like the new school Denzel, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Or, any number of movies.
Yeah, he's just kind of like... The reason I would compare him to Denzel Washington is because they're both, like, humble guys. They're not flashy.
Yeah.
They're not... I don't know. I like that kind of reserved, intelligent, humble person.
And it's not like a Tom Cruise, we'll say, who is supremely talented, but everything becomes the Tom Cruise show. Like when we talked about The Mummy, he hijacks the whole movie.
Yeah. This is. It's not like that. He lets other performers spread their wings and take the center stage. Like, I think the next one I would talk about is Miles Caton as Sammy.
Oh yeah. And this is his first performance, I think, or very close to it.
Yeah, he's a musician. He's got some music out, and he's the character is their sharecropper little cousin, wants to be a blues man, and he does such a good job.
This is his only film on IMDb.
Yeah,
everything else is
a breakout performance, and I think his music is going to see a lot of reach a lot of ears because he's got a great voice.
Yeah,
but hopefully he can have a career in movies because this is really, really good.
Yeah, and he is, arguably the lead of the movie. He's the protagonist of the film.
Yeah, he's one of the main perspectives for sure.
Yeah. I guess he's not the lead because he's not top billed, but he is. He's the one that makes it out. He's one of the key people, and he's perfect as this sort of like, we've all been in that situation when you're a young man out with older friends that are more worldly than you, and you're just happy to be along for the ride.
Yeah.
And then, like, he has all these great interactions with Delta Slim, like, who is coaching him on showmanship and the legacy of the blues and, like, all of these things, like, and takes this paternal role with him. And yeah, like, I love all the choices that he makes in his moments to shine.
Yeah, and I would kind of roll into the conversation that Delta Slim, played by Delroy Lindo, that performance, and especially those scenes with Sammy, really good. And
he's one of the comic relief characters, but he is not only a comic relief character.
He is a funny guy.
Yeah.
In a movie that is not a funny movie, but there are funny people everywhere.
Yeah.
And so he's one of them.
It is one of his methods for coping with his tremendous trauma that he's carrying around. The other one is drinking, and then the other one is playing the blues.
I like that he's a beer man, because I'm a beer man.
Yeah. It's something that's interesting is some of these guys, like probably mention Buddy Guy in a minute. People of that era are still alive and with us. Mm-hmm. I have 100% met people that talk like Delta Slim, and like that kind of guy is it's just so authentic feeling. Like, I was like, oh, I know this guy. When he says that, this here, my patch right here. Like, and he says that, and I go, oh yeah, I know this. I have met this man.
If you go to New Orleans right now, you'll find those guys.
Yeah, like, I know this guy, exactly who he is, and it's everything he says is so it's what it needs to be in the moment.
He's a veteran character actor, and this is a really outstanding performance. So I really enjoyed both him and Miles Caton. They were really good duo on screen.
Let's go with one of the ladies. How about Haley Steinfeld? I have next on my list as Mary. Complicated character. Some people on the internet, there's a lot of people that hate Mary as like she's the reason everything goes wrong. Essentially, they blame her for everything.
Is she really?
I mean, because she goes out there and gets turned and then comes back and turns Stack. So if she hadn't gone out, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, but she was made fairly unwelcome.
Yeah, and it's all done with it for the best intentions.
Yeah, she was going to go and get that money.
Yeah. And they had pockets full of leprechaun gold.
Straight up gold.
Yeah, so it really... They were underwater even after their first night, and I mean, I think all her actions make total sense.
I had no problem with that character. I always hate characters that make irrational, stupid decisions because the director or writer wanted them to accomplish a certain task. But I didn't find Mary to be ever to like trigger that idiot sense in me. I was like, no, she's smart. She still has a thing for Stack. She's not going to be told no, and so she's going to stick around. And then when she sees, oh, I can be useful, I'm going to go get those guys money.
Yeah,
takes that gun.
Yeah,
and she's like, I'm gonna win cred with these guys who have been kind of telling me to get out of here.
Yeah.
And because she's too white, she's like 1/8 black, and so
Octoroon was the term of the era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
interesting. I hadn't heard that. She said her grandpa was half black, and so I just did the math.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm gonna go get some cred. Everything makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
She didn't know he's a vampire. She's just some stupid Irish guy who has claimed to have a lot of money he wanted to spend.
Why would you think they were vampires?
Yeah.
That's not a rational thing to think.
No. So everything she did was cool, and I thought she was a badass. badass vampire.
Yeah.
Like, she looked so cool, covered in blood with the glowing eyes and the fangs. Her physical performance post transformation was excellent.
Yeah, and I like her and Stack, where he's wearing now just the vest with no shirt, and they're both covered in blood. And
yeah, Vampire Stack is a Chad.
Yeah, and they're just out there looking like carousing together. You know what I mean? Because like, it's one of those things where it's super hot in a movie. In real life, if you saw anyone with this much blood on their face, you would not be attracted to it.
Well, yeah, and the actors talking about it, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes footage, like when they're filming all that stuff, they're like, it's so sticky, and there's like 8 kinds of fake blood. There's the kind that's supposed to look fresh. Yeah. There's the kind that's crusty. There's the kind that's old and dried and stained your clothes, and they used every available fake blood product on the market. They used all of them.
Yeah, that's wild.
Her performance was awesome. No shade at all. I think that I don't think she's gonna get like an Oscar nomination or something, but I think she did a great job, and I'd love to see her in more horror movies.
Yeah. She's another one of these people. I mean, and I won't just repeat this over and over again, because I literally could. Every single one of these people in this cast that I recognize is always good.
Yeah, like just consistent.
These are all people that I go, oh, I love her. Oh, he's great. Like, that's like I'm having these thoughts every time I see someone that I recognize.
Yeah, she's in good stuff, and she's always good.
Who do you want to go with next?
How about Jack O'Connell as Remick, our Irish vampire?
Oh, I love him.
He's so good. I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And like, now I want to go see other stuff he's been in, because he's so damn good. And I was watching an interview with him, and he was talking about how he was sent this script, and he's reading it, and he's like, he's got an English accent. He's like, I'm 50 pages in, and I see, oh, I know that song. I've sang that song in many a pub.
Yeah.
And then he's like, and I'm reading, and in 10 more pages, and then I'm doing traditional Irish dancing. I'd done that my entire childhood.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and then that was done. I had to have this role.
Yeah. Because O'Connell, obviously, he's of Irish descent. He's raised in the UK, but his dad is Irish.
Yeah.
And so, this is all very
Irish and Derbyshire.
Yeah.
Are his
roots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very close to home to him. And I think, talk about everyone being understandable. Why he does everything he does makes total sense.
Absolutely.
And he is not the villain in the Remick story, right? Like, if he's the vampire Lestat and this is his book with his name on the cover, he's not the villain of that story. He's doing something that makes total sense. Yeah,
he has motivations, and he basically tells the people in the juke joint, he's like, hey, I've got the cure for this oppression bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, join me, and then they're the hunted. Mm-hmm. So he really thinks he's gifting these people true freedom from oppression.
I mean, and then when we check in with Stack and Mary in the 90s, mm-hmm. it does seem like it worked out pretty
absolutely.
Good. Yeah, they're living their best on life. Yeah.
So I really like Jack O'Connell. I think he did an amazing job in this role.
Yeah.
It was really good.
His singing gives me chills. His dancing is like, he's doing those high kicks and everything. Like,
it's cool that they got a guy that didn't have to like learn that stuff and put on a fake, you know, because he's legit into it like his whole life.
Yeah, and I love this, him singing and dancing with all the vampires also dancing and singing with him. So you have the choral elements too with the Irish folk music, and powerhouse performance. I mean, and there's a reason like why last weekend we saw 28 Years Later. He shows up for a few seconds at the end of the movie, and he's third billed in the credits. His star has risen considerably off of this movie.
Absolutely, yeah. He's He's definitely a winner, and I'll watch movies that he's in. It's really good. So who's next?
How about Wunmi Mosaku as Annie?
Yeah, she's an awesome character. I didn't know what to think about this character in, being a guy who's not superstitious, I'm not religious or whatever. Whenever I see these characters that are like, she's a hoodoo practitioner. She's kind of her, I guess you would say like a shaman of the area, you know, as a generic term. And I normally kind of have a little disdain for those characters because I don't like superstitious stuff, like in my real life. It's just a prejudice that I have.
Yeah.
But she just immediately sold it with her. She's not bullshit. Like, the character is really like salt of the earth. And you're like, oh, she's really good. I was just thinking like, okay, I like this character. And then the fact that she, you know, her and Smoke had a child together, and she's his estranged wife and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is really complicated, and this is a really cool character. I liked the performance, and I like that they, I think that she is a very convincing, like a convincing wise woman.
Yeah. And so that when she starts dropping knowledge, everyone kind of gets with it.
Yeah, you know? It's a historical trope. Like, every culture has wise women.
Yeah.
And she portrays that just excellently.
But it is the opposite usually of how horror movies play out. Mm-hmm. The person that knows everything, usually no one listens to them.
Yeah, or they just like they turn bad, or they get iced or whatever.
Yeah, and so I just really loved that she was the one that knew what was up, and that everyone treated her with respect and listened to her. Great performance. It's very powerful. The stuff with the baby they lost. And which is part of why they're estranged. Because, you know, Stack, you talked about how he's someone who's walled off.
Yeah.
It's hard to be around these emotional wounds all the time and stay walled off.
Yeah, he's dealing with a lot of trauma. He lost a child. He fought in World War I, and he was a bootlegger and a gangster in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's been, subject to a lot of oppression, and so this is a dude with just massive trauma, and so he is not dealing well with any of it. Yeah. Particularly, and a lot of PTSD sufferers sacrifice their relationships because of their lack of coping skills, and he very clearly has done that with his wife.
Like, the best thing I can do for you is be far away from you.
Exactly. Rather than heal and work with her and talk to her, because he basically like throws it in her face. Where's your magic for our baby? Ooh, it's like dark.
Yeah, because she's talking about, because he wears a mojo bag around his neck, and she's talking about how she prayed for him, and how do you know that isn't what kept you safe? And he's like, well, I didn't work on our baby. And it's just like, it's such a gut punch. Oof.
It's brutal.
And then in the end, like, I tear up every time when she calls to him when she's got the baby there.
Yeah.
Oof. Wunmi Mosaku, just, that is something. You probably do talk about her at least being in contention for Best Supporting Actress when this...
I think if there's, she's probably the one who would get the Best Supporting Actress from this movie.
Yeah,
even though
maybe not the win, but the nomination.
I think the other two big ones are Haley Steinfeld, and then the next one we'll talk about would be Jamie Lawson as Perline. Those are kind of the three lady big supporting roles, I would say, and they all were great. Like, I liked the character Perline. She's a married lady who's a jazz singer.
Happily, though?
Oh, no. None of these married people in this whole thing are happy.
That was the... look, we're both married men. I don't condone this. Don't say this to my wife. But, however, when Preacher Boy Sammy, which she says, I'm married, by the way, and he just goes... happily, and you see the look on her face that says, not really. Like, I am taking applications.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's called Sinners. So.
It is called Sinners. Yeah, and Perlene sings her ass off in this movie.
Yeah,
too.
the dancing that she does while she's performing. Yeah, it's a really good performance. I think that that was a cool character. It wasn't a character that really like I guess it didn't resonate with me the same way Annie and Mary did, but I think it was also a smaller role.
Yeah, we get just much more depth and backstory for Annie and Mary.
Yeah, Annie becomes or Mary becomes a vampire, and Annie is Smoke's wife, and so they're just bigger characters.
Yeah,
and that's not a condemnation of her performance. It's just a smaller role. I really liked that we got so many little roles like Omar Miller as Cornbread. I like that guy. There's a reason he was asked to be a bar the bouncer.
I love Cornbread too.
Insult him a couple times. He's about to whoop ass.
Yeah, I know. And he goes, and he was like, man, he's like, fuck your quota. And he goes, this is my wife right here. I'm going to ask you to show some respect. He goes, fuck your wife. Having seen this in the theater multiple times, that always gets a huge reaction. When he says fuck your wife, if you see that movie with a black audience, people blow up at that sequence.
Yeah, there's about to be a fight at that point.
Yeah, they're like, oh, like the whole theater like roars every time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and you know, if there's a secret villain to this movie, it's Omar having to go so far in the woods to take a piss.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Just go around the corner, man.
Well, the thing is he said I mean, it was his lie. It was the lie. Yeah, he had to take a piss, but then he turned out he also had to take a shit. So that's why it took so long.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, he who hasn't had to take a surprise shit cast the first stone.
Yeah, vampires would have got me too. He was like, I'm going to need to get out of these overalls.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you're out there in the woods and you have to take surprise shit, but you're wearing overalls. You're like, fuck, do I just strip off all my clothes so I don't shit on my overalls?
That is the safest move, right?
It is if you don't have a toilet.
Is to take the overalls all the way off and hang them up in a tree.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, you're shitting on your tails.
Yeah, so Cornbread, great performance from Omar Little.
Yeah, that was really fun. I mean, we didn't really call out Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy is Old Sammy.
Old Sammy in the bar in the kind of the epilogue.
Yeah. Just playing himself. Essentially, I think it's his only acting role. He doesn't even go see movies. They asked him what the last movie he saw was, and it was Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws a good one. We have an episode on that.
Yeah, but that was 45 or some years ago.
Well, and yeah, they asked him why did he do this? It's because it's for the blues.
Yeah.
He wants people to love the blues. And so anything he can do to make people love the blues, he'll do.
Yeah. So, yes, it's a small performance at the end.
His playing is good, and I expected that. He's Buddy Guy. But then his acting is good, too.
Yeah. And yeah, because his dialogue where he talks about how before the sun went down, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah.
Was it like that for you? And like, yeah, just he just has a few lines, but they're really resonant. And he really was a sharecropper as a kid. Like he's steeped in this culture.
Absolutely.
And it just kind of comes through him. And he's having a moment right now. You see him on TikTok and stuff. I think
I don't tick or talk. Yeah, I have no idea.
I think there is a younger generation that became aware of him because of this movie, and that's just a good thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like Stranger Things making everyone like Master of Puppets and Kate Bush. Yeah. It's like, these are good artists. You should like them.
Yeah, so when you discover something like this, it's like, that's a positive. Good job, TikTok, when you're not out destroying the world. Anyone else we want to talk about?
I mean, I liked I liked the two KKK vampires. Their performance. Yeah,
former KKK.
They're now for equality. Like, we got
Bert and Joan.
Peter Dramanis and Lola Kirk as Bert and Joan, who were the former KKK members who got they took in Remick and sheltered him from the vampire hunters, and then he turned them, and then they were his backing band. And in their role as backing band, they're creepy as fuck, and I love it. The performances are so good.
And that's there's that song. Will You Go Lassie or Wild Mountain Time? It's got a million names because no one really knows even what the origin of the song is. It goes back quite a ways in like oral tradition or whatever. And they sing the shit out of it. Like
Absolutely.
Both of them.
They obviously cast two people that could play instruments and sing. Like that's a requirement.
Yeah.
You got to play the guitar or banjo and sing.
Yeah. And I do like when they get their minds blown, right, by becoming vampires, and their little Peckerwood world is gone, right? And
they were like, that was bullshit.
They're like, now we see it. Now I've got like centuries of lived experience that I'm tapping into, and I've discovered racism is actually bad.
Yeah, it turns out it's toxic everywhere and all the time.
But have you considered becoming a vampire? Like, it rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
You take what you want.
Dude, I'd have just said, let's do this.
Hold on.
I don't want to be ugly like cornbread.
He'd heal.
That's true.
You know, like eventually. The wound is fresh.
Yeah, he got his jaw blown off by a 45.
He is gnarly with that jaw wound.
Yeah.
It's they're really good. I don't want to justify their past or anything.
No, I mean,
accidentally.
Just straight up, these actors played the hell out of their role. Yeah. It was really good.
The next one I have is Lee Jun Lee as Grace Chow.
Yeah, she was pretty hardcore, like throwing the Molotov right at Remick and stuff.
So if you'd mentioned earlier the people that do the stupid shit.
She did the stupid thing.
If someone does a stupid thing in the movie, it is her. But I think it is completely believable why she does it.
She didn't think it through that, they don't have time to get back to town before dawn, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And it's like, if we survive that, they're not going to leave us and run and go get my daughter now.
Because they're after Sammy.
Right. And so we just need to make it through the night. But she's lost her husband to this, and she's freaking out, and she wants a fight. And she does what she intends to do. She successfully kills her husband, who is he's played by Yao, which is a stage name. The guy's name is Thomas Pang as Bo Chow. There's integral part of this community, and their story is small, but it's very sad. And when they die together on fire, it's tragic.
Yeah, that was a really cool little subplot in the movie. I liked that. I mean, there's just tons of small people, small roles.
Yeah, I mentioned already Saul Williams as Jedediah Moore, Sammy's father. I'm just a huge fan of him. His music. He's a poet and a musician. And so, like, when he shows up with like the parted in the middle flat top haircut, I was like, oh shit, Saul Williams. That's a deep cut casting. Like, Lisa, his dad is a pastor. Like, I was like, so it's I'm always happy to see Saul Williams show up in something. David Maldonado as Hogwood, the KKK leader. Yeah, one of the best deaths in the whole movie. Just empty the whole magazine right into his gut.
The body would have definitely been more chewed up than that. For sure.
It's very close range.
And that's a high caliber weapon. That's it. It looked like it's a 45 Tommy gun, right? So yeah. It would have been gone.
Just blast them. Yeah, that's great moment. Anyone else?
I liked the brief moment that we got to see him as Nathaniel Arkand as Chayton, the Choctaw vampire hunter.
Yes.
I want a prequel about Chayton.
Coogler produces TV shows and stuff. Like,
that's true.
Give us the Choctaw vampire hunter Monster of the Week
And you
TV
can have
show.
the last episode be his encounter with Remick and Remick narrowly escaping.
Yeah.
That would be the perfect
Just one
epilogue.
One season of it, and it has Jack O'Connell guest star in the last episode.
Yeah.
Green light. Go for it.
Any studio exec would be like, okay, yeah, that'll sell.
Put it on Max. Warner Brothers, you've invested in this, and squeeze a little more juice out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that.
Good movie.
All right. So
Good performances.
personal highlight. What do you got for me?
So I really was going through this, and there are so many there are so many things. Like if I'm choosing a scene or if I'm choosing a thing, and it's hard for me to choose a specific scene because none of the scenes. I wouldn't say none of the scenes were great. I would say there were so many scenes that were all really excellent. I'm going to go ahead and just say my personal highlight of the movie is the performance of Michael B. Jordan.
Oh. Rather than pick a specific one, just overall.
Overall, and if I were to really narrow it down to one scene of Michael B. Jordan, it's probably buying the wood, the sawmill scene. I think that the way he makes these characters distinct and notable and specific is commendable.
Yeah.
I think that this is probably the best role I've seen him do. I think that it goes beyond simply, he had good writing.
Yeah.
Or he was directed well.
Yeah.
No. This guy was method and he was hardcore. Each character lived in his brain. And when he put on the costume and he changed his full body language, like they had different, the way they walked was different. The way they hold their shoulders and their arms different. The way that they look around and their facial expressions were absolutely unique. So I think that that probably is a thing that I thought was gonna suck, but that was a bad take.
Okay.
And it turned out it was the best part of the movie because if you had authentic twins, it would be hard pressed to be better than this.
Right.
So yeah, I would say that that's my personal highlight. How about you?
Okay. Well, there's two sequences in the movie that I get chills every time, and so I'm gonna be greedy and pick both of them.
Oh snap!
So the first one is the piercing the veil scene with Sammy playing in the juke joint when he finally goes and plays guitar. And he plays his I Lied to You song. And it goes from the 70 millimeter widescreen and the screen goes tall and his voice soars and you just start seeing the anachronistic people in the audience, like dancers, like people that don't belong in this time period or realm, and it's just like, and it builds and builds to where you're getting modern music starts getting layered into it, like their sort of Jimi Hendrix, Bootsy Collins hybrid guy comes in with the electric guitar and is playing with Sammy, and the place burns down, like the whole building burns down, and the way the sound design and the music and the acting and dancing and the camera, where like people are taking these like IMAX camera and moving through the crowd with it. They're a part of the choreography essentially in order to get these shots and be in there. And then you see like the Chinese dancers, like the Monkey King and like and they're in there dancing with Bo and Grace, and the whole thing just sort of culminates, like I said, in the whole juke joint burning down. He burned the roof off the motherfucker, and like metaphorically, but literally in a way. And then it climaxes with the three vampires standing there watching it, and you see like Remick's face lit by the fire of the burning juke joint. So like he's witnessing the magic. I don't know what his two comrades are seeing, but he's seeing what is happening spiritually in the moment. And he wants a piece of it.
He wants that.
Yeah. And then that little blink, 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 like that, it starts going over into the spooky vampire music.
Yeah.
every single time I get goosebumps when that scene happens. And then the other one, for similar reasons, is the Rocky Road to Dublin scene.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
You know, I love blues music, but I am well aware I'm a guest in this arena. Like, this is not. It's. I'm happy to be included, but this is not culturally where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
this music, like these Irish folk songs, I feel them deep in my bones. Like, so this is a song that I know really well, and he starts singing it. God, I forget what it's called, but it's sort of like an Irish funeral dirge when he's singing it a cappella at the beginning.
Yeah.
And when he starts singing, like, immediate chills, like the hairs on my arms stand up when he starts singing that. And then it goes IMAX, goes tall, and everyone's dancing around the fire, and it becomes like this shamanic ritual scene.
Yeah.
Just incredible. And it's so, like, mentioned TikTok. This is the reason why people do, like, all these Irish folk dancing TikTok videos now. Like, this song has crossed over in such a big way because of what he's bringing to it.
Interesting.
And how it's portrayed. And just a little runner-up, I love when Smoke kills Hoghead or whatever his name is at the end. It's his one last thing before he dies happily. I just need to shoot this guy. And it's really it keeps the scene from being like a total like sobber, and because it puts a little levity and a little action into it. But yeah, beautiful moment. But that's a little one. Those are my highlights. I was greedy. I picked a bunch of them.
Jeez.
What worked for you?
So there's a lot of things. We've been really, really positive overall about this movie. So I would say that the first thing I wrote was vibes, because this movie is all mood, it's all style. I loved how they lit the movie in order to create maximum moody vibes, and the long cuts, the long shots, like it's just so good. And I feel like they were able to really evoke an emotional response with this movie through the use of just excellent cinematography and lighting. I would next say that all of the performances in this movie were top notch. There were no performances where I was like, meh.
Right.
They were all so good.
There was no kid who's clearly reading off a prompter. Yeah. There was just like, no one dropped the ball at any stage, except for maybe that snake, the CGI snake.
That wasn't a performance, though. That was VFX. Fuck them guys.
Actually, there was a digital a motion capture snake. They put dots all over him.
That would be amazing if they did that.
He trained with Andy Serkis.
Understudy for Gollum. And then lastly, I really liked Buddy Guy in the epilogue, but the epilogue in general is kind of what really worked for me.
Really?
I thought the movie was really good. Mm-hmm. And then when there's like more, I'm like, what? Because I'm watching it on Max, and then it goes, credits roll, and then it's like, the little thing pops up, like next episode or whatever, like next, the little arrow. I'm like, what the fuck's next? Okay. Click next. And it cuts past the credits straight to that.
Oh, okay. And
I was like, oh, okay. There's an after the credits scene. I'm glad I noticed that. And then, we got Buddy Guy, and we got Stack and Annie. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh man, this scene is so rad. This actually makes the movie. This kind of puts the cherry on top. It's
a perfect stinger in that way that it's additive.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Not like,
they're not advertising something else to me.
Yeah.
It's giving me a little more, so that I can wonder.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. That epilogue was almost my personal highlight. Wow. I liked it that much.
That'd been cool.
So what about you? What worked for you?
First, I just call it the Coogler sauce. He's so good at assembling a team, right? And this is a team assembling movie, but IRL, he does this. He puts together these A teams to make films.
Yeah.
And the people that are like expert in their field, and then he trusts them to do it. Not that, I mean, he guides them and he directs.
Yeah.
But he hires the right people and lets them cook. And that's really special. And you can tell, like, by the way people work with him over and over again, he's a good guy to run the show. Like, people like working with him. He's not some, like, a tyrant that they can't wait to get away from.
Yeah, like, someone complimented that scene, the Music Through the Ages or whatever scene, and he was in an interview with Ludwig Göransson was there too.
Yeah.
And Coogler basically was like, yeah, I mean, I played a role in that, but really Ludwig kind of was at the helm for this scene. And Ludwig was like, yeah, I worked solidly for over 2 months on that one scene.
Yeah.
Creating it, layering it, and all this, enter that, enter this. And so, yeah, he's a team assembler.
Yeah. And that's, you need to, I think, to be a great director, you need to be, good at that. That's something. There was some interview I saw with Ridley Scott one time where someone was asking him about something technical about filmmaking, and Ridley is like, "You don't need to know about that. As a director, you need to hire someone who knows about that."
Oh, absolutely.
You don't need to know. It's great if you know everything about focal length and different kinds of cameras, and I think Ryan Coogler probably does.
Yeah, he's a dweeb for that tech.
Yeah. But you, as a director, you don't need to know that. Your cinematographer needs to know that. You know, you don't need to know how to compose music. Your composer needs to know that. So, yeah. Anyways, the music and sound, since we're talking about that, I think Ludwig needs to clear a little space on the shelf, because I think Oscar number 3 is probably coming from this. I don't like to, never like to bet on the Oscars, at least until we get closer to it, because... we're only just past the midpoint of the year, and something amazing could come out in between now and Oscar season. But right now, this is the best score I've heard. And the way it plays with Bodeker's sound design is just perfection. And this is also part of this A-team, but the cinematography from Audun Durald Arkapaw, I think maybe this might be her first Oscar, if there's any justice in the world, because it is the best looking movie that I've seen all year, and for many years, maybe.
Yeah, it's the best looking movie I've seen in a long time.
It is such, as certain people start, like David Lynch or... Danny Boyle on 28 Years Later, certain directors start pulling me over towards digital, and I go, well, maybe there's something to digital filmmaking. And I start to kind of believe what they're selling me, and then I see this sumptuous, glorious analog looking film, and just like you can just like see people truly like real looking, like visceral embodied people and skies, and everything just looks so beautiful, like a painting, and that comes from film. And so just like the cinematography in this movie is just incredible. All right, been waiting all episode for this. What didn't work for you?
So I got to cut just a few things, and they're I would call them minor. Okay. First things first, the Choctaw Vampire Hunters, such wasted potential. I hope there's a director's cut out there where we get more. And ultimately, all you would have had to do is have them show up sometime near the end and like help finish off Remick, or even just give them advice or something. I don't know.
Or just like show up after the clan is all been killed and just be like, oh yeah, it got pretty bad here, we should go.
or just add something in where there's gonna be, there's the stingers, like, well, we don't know if they got all of them, because just because the lead vampire died doesn't mean all the other ones die as well.
Ooh, shit. For sequel,
yeah,
them hunting Stack and Mary is a hell of a sequel.
Yeah, and so like really, it was like, man, you introduce this cool thing in Act 1,
Yeah.
and then it never comes back.
It does feel weird.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one, you brought it up. A person doing stupid thing for the sake of story. Bo Chow. She got baited by Remick because there is no way he was going to leave without Sammy, and there's no way he could have made it to town to get her daughter. So literally, he made an idle, hollow threat. I'm gonna kill your kid or whatever, and she just freaks the fuck out, makes them all talk, invites them in, blah blah blah. She does the dumb thing. I don't know. Seems kind of lazy. Like, whatever. And then lastly, and this is a controversial take that it disagrees not only with you, but almost everyone on the internet. The Music Through the Ages scene was not good. It was just like the snake. It took me out of the movie. And it wasn't when we were invoking the African tribal drummers, etc. It's when we had the Bootsy Hendrix guy, and we had the DJ, when you went into the future. So I'm totally cool with the idea. This is a supernatural experience. I'm down with it. Where you're calling up tribal ancestors, you're bringing down the veil, and you have all these things or whatever. That would be cool, and it would feel right. But this future stuff and the jamming on the electric guitar and the crumpin', or I don't even know what the dancing's called. It's a wrong word.
There's a lot of different kinds of dancing in it. Yeah.
All of the modern stuff that just, I was just like, boo. I just verbally booed in my living room. And I reserve that. I reserve that for things I really don't like. And so, like, yeah, I just thought it was like, man, just like a digital snake. You guys just digital snaked me again. And I did not like it. And I thought that was just 100% lame. And I know tons of people say it's the best part of the movie. I even use AI and said, what are the best scenes in this movie? And this was the top one. The Music Through the Ages is the one that all the critics say is the best scene. And I literally think it's the worst scene.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Because it just doesn't make sense. The future stuff doesn't make sense. It's lame. I like the past stuff. The future
don't like
stuff,
the future.
No. Okay. Just leave it out of it. What about you? What didn't work?
I got nothing.
Nothing?
I've got no problems.
Not
with
even
the
the digital snake? Not even the disappearing Choctaw?
I know. I mean, those things. The funny thing is this movie violates rules of mine. Like, it's got multiple endings. Like, I always hate when the movie has its climax and then we have another climax. Yeah. And then this one goes even further and has a stinger and a second stinger. Yeah. and stuff like that. And I don't care. Every time we come back, I go, ooh, more. Like, I'm getting more stuff. It breaks rules that I normally would hold against a movie, and I just go with them no matter what. I've got nothing to complain about with this movie. And the only thing is just wanting more of it. You know what I mean? Which is not actually a complaint. That's just because it was so good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, then, final thoughts and rating.
I don't think that the Music Through the Ages scene is enough to knock it off the 5 point. It almost did. But I'm going to stick with the 5 because I just thoroughly enjoy it. This is like what? Like a 2 hour and 15 minute movie or something? I enjoyed like 2 hours and 13 minutes. Yeah. And I wouldn't say I just like enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was so good. I'm going to see it again. Like, it's just like, this movie was awesome. Like, I want to see it on a big screen now. I'm sad that I didn't. And I need to stop discounting things that I think will be lame. Wow. Before giving them a shot, or at least reading reviews.
Yeah, and going, what do these people even know?
Idiots.
What do people? It's just their job.
I mean, and we know you gave it a 5, so Yeah.
Yes,
You can't give it a 6. It's not allowed.
There is no 6. Yeah, it only has 5. It's the best movie of the year. It's
easily.
We'll see what happens when Eddington comes out. That looks really good. But
I would say
in general, I don't see anything knocking this.
The last movie I saw that I think is like on this level was Nosferatu.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me because...
And it's a vampire movie.
It is also a vampire movie. That's not why I think they're both 5-star movies, but it is... They both do the thing that what I'm turned on by, which is auteur filmmaking.
Absolutely. It's just a passionate creative team doing amazing things.
And I think that Robert Eggers movies are cold, where I think that Ryan Coogler movies are warm, and like they're totally different filmmakers, except for in the fact that they're complete obsessive, detail-oriented craftsman filmmakers.
I'm glad that these guys are relatively young because we have literally decades to enjoy.
They're going to be making movies for a long time. Both of them.
That's a positive thing. And so I always say, give us what the ratings were around the internet. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 97, which is pretty high, and I think 97 is the critics, and then like the fan was like 95. So this is pretty golden. And then weirdly, IMDb gives it a 7.7. I don't know how you get below a 4 on this movie.
Yeah.
And then Metacritic is 84, which is just an aggregator. But yeah, I think that's a solid 5-star movie, and it's a really good one. It's going to be hard to top this movie.
All right, I've been I knew that scene was gonna take you out of it. I had that feeling, so I've been waiting to see if that was going to be the thing that you jumped on.
Yeah, so. When I first saw the guy playing the guitar, I was like,
"Wait, what?
What's going on?" Oh, and a DJ. Oh, damn! I'm gonna go get a soda.
I love.
Stood up.
Anyways, it does require you to go for it. Like, let go and just let them take you.
Gotta drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and you're like, no Kool-Aid.
No, I don't like that.
They handed you the solo cup and you slapped it away.
As I often do. So let's listen to music and then come back with the Vault of Darkness.
Before we delve into the Vault of Darkness, we ask that all initiates of the cult follow us on your favorite social media platforms at Nightshade Cult.
If you've enjoyed this content, help us grow the cult by sharing it with like-minded people and leave us a review wherever you listen. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell, yeah. Do you have any dark tidings?
I got one.
Ooh, okay.
Normally you're the Grim Reaper, but I had to do it this time. Rest in power, Michael Madsen, Mr. Blonde.
Yeah.
Over 300 movie credits. Always the coolest guy on the screen at any given time.
It's true.
He will be missed.
I don't know.
Mr. Blonde was one of my faves. I love that movie.
I thought he was already dead. I'll be honest. When I saw that, and I was like, did he just die? I thought he died. But yeah. Tough one.
Yeah, he's a movie star, and they died just like everyone else. But we can remember him fondly.
Gone too soon, and we got.
Yeah, he was only in his 60s. He shouldn't have died so young.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, in other news,
what
are you pulling out of the vault?
Exactly the opposite.
Okay, a birth.
Oh, no. Okay, not exactly the opposite. Spiritually the opposite.
Okay.
I watched 2 comedy specials recently, and I wanted to recommend them to everybody because I thought they were funny, as they should be. So I went on a little trip out to the Oregon coast, and I was camping, outside of... I thought I was going to be outside of cell and Wi-Fi. Turns out one of my friends had a Starlink, and so I had Wi-Fi the whole time.
Nice.
But... before I had gone, I downloaded the Prime app, and I downloaded a bunch of like movies and stuff onto my laptop so I could watch them offline in the evenings while I was just chilling out in my trailer. It's not really camping. I have a trailer, but glamping, whatever. Yeah. And one of them was David Spade, Dandelion. These are both newish. They're 2025 release, so that's newish. Yeah. David Spade, a classic comedian. Yeah. He gives it's like, this is a classic Spade performance. He's very dry, sardonic, witty as hell, extremely quick. Like when someone in the audience says or laughs at the wrong moment or whatever, he's on it. Like, and it's excellent David Spade. If you like him, you'll like this. And I laughed out loud multiple times. Just, he had me belly laughing. Yeah. And I really appreciate his brand of observational comedy and just sort of talking about regular stuff like flying. Everyone hates airports and airplanes, and he's a rich guy, and he's like, I hate him too. I can't get around it, and so it's just it's a good time. Okay. And then the other one is, and this one's a little older. It's been out for a few months. Eliza Schlesinger, A Different Animal. Okay. And she's really funny. Like, I always laugh at her. She's really silly, and it's Eliza, like with an Iliza. So if you're looking for her on Prime, she has a bunch of specials on Netflix, but this is her first one on Amazon. Okay. And I know who she is. She's extremely funny, ultra sarcastic, and she always does lots of generational jokes because she is an elder millennial, and she'll make fun of Zoomers and Gen X and Boomers and stuff. It's kind of evergreen comedy gold because it's easy, low-hanging fruit, but it's always funny. It's all, and so I always appreciate it. And she recently had a kid, and I really appreciate it when a comedian will make one or two jokes about that but not make it their whole act, right? Because you can take my favorite comedian and they'll do like a mommy/daddy episode, like special, and I'll just be checked out, just because I can't relate, right?
This is all unrelatable content.
Well, it's like, I get it, this is your life now, but I can't get into this. So she did a great special. I really liked it. Both of them had me laughing a lot. I looked up reviews just to see if I was on point here. And it's funny because almost everyone's like, yeah, Spade's great, blah, blah, blah. But so many people are like, Eliza Schlesinger is so annoying. I was like, are these just internet chuds that don't like women? I can't tell, because this was really funny. Like, I don't know how you could say she's annoying. It's funny.
I can't say without looking, but yes, probably
internet chuds.
I mean, especially in these last 5 years, anything with a woman or person of color, or God forbid, both, gets review bombed by the most, like,
and she's a Jew, so maybe some of that's playing into it.
Oh yeah, they don't want to be replaced by them. That's a big that's a tiki torchable sort of thing issue for them.
Honorable mention. I watched Sarah Silverman's recent one, and it's a bit of another Jewish woman. That's what reminded me. It's a bit of a downer because she talks about the death of her dad, and it's also, though, super fucking funny, like extremely funny, because her dad's really funny, and she tells a lot of stories about him. So
that was, I listened to her when she was on Mark Maron, and they he talks about grief a lot because he lost a partner some years ago, and I also saw the clip of her on Jimmy Kimmel. And people maybe don't know, they used to be married. And Jimmy was getting emotional talking about her dad because of someone he knew really well. And she's like, oh, cry. Like, she started like chanting cry.
That's funny.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we talked about this, I think, last episode, this is real shit we all go through.
Yeah, we're all getting older. Even if you're young now, you're getting older. It'll happen it happens to all of us. Yeah. So I watch a lot of comedy specials. I don't talk about them a lot, but literally, I I'll just open up Netflix and cruise for all the new comedy specials, and I'll just watch all of them. Like, I watch a lot of stand-up comedy.
You too. That's something you've always done.
I got that from my mom because she loved stand-up comedy. And way back in the day when the Comedy Central network was brand new when we were kids, she literally signed up for cable just to get Comedy Central, and we watched stand-up comedy together all the time. So just to this day, I still do it.
Yeah.
So what about you? What are you pulling out of the vault?
Well, the movie Sinners had me thinking of a show that was my show of the year back in 2020.
Oh, snap.
But this was technically not Nightshade Cult. That was a different podcast, and so I've never talked about this on Nightshade Cult, and so I'm going to recommend Lovecraft Country. 2020.
I watched that too on your recommendation.
Yeah, show run by Misha Green for HBO Max, and it is still on HBO Max, unlike a lot of things that have been taken off for tax write-off purposes. You can actually still watch this one. R.I.P. Raised by Wolves, which was my show of the year in 2020.
That was a good show.
Yeah. So Lovecraft Country is an American black horror historical fantasy drama television series developed by Misha Green and based on the 2016 novel by Matt Ruff. And it stars Journey Smollett and a pre-cancellation Jonathan Majors. A lot of people... Lovecraft is a controversial figure.
Absolutely. A heinous racist.
And homophobe. And it is no subtle revenge to take on him that the probably one of the biggest things using his mythology that's come out in the last few years is a very black show with queer black people in it, and
it's from their perspective. So.
Yeah, it's like these people in the world of Lovecraft, but not the people that he would ever focus his stories on.
Yeah, when that started, kind of the buzz started going around the internet about that or whatever, I was immediately like, I'm not watching that. That guy's a racist and a homophobe. I'm not watching that. And then people are like, I think you were one of them. No. This is a thumb in his eye.
Yeah.
These are black people and queer people, and they're like literally treading on his grave. I'm like, yes!
Yeah. And it's one of the... what's his name? Michael Kenneth Williams from Omar from The Wire.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of his last performances before he passed away. And, Jonathan Majors has had the problems that he's had. He did things he ought not have done, and his career has taken a hit because of it. But he is great in this. I can't deny how good he is. He was such a good leading man on this show. And Journey Smollett, who's the female lead of the show, is also super compelling. And I'm very steeped in, pulp literature. That's sort of one of my go-to genres.
Yeah.
And it is done it is so lovingly unauthentically pulpy, not in a sort of isn't this corny sort of way. It takes the tropes of pulp literature seriously, or as seriously as they should be taken, but it doesn't ignore the problematic parts of it. It addresses them head on, and it's legit scary, and sometimes it's exciting, and there's time travel and space travel and mythological monsters and demons, and it's everything. It covers a lot of ground in its one season.
Yeah, probably worth a rewatch.
Yeah, and it's got I won't spoil it, but it's got a hell of a twist ending that you don't expect coming. And it was before Warner Brothers started, and Max especially, started cutting like crazy. It was supposed to get a second season, but that we're never going to get that. So we just have one great season that we can still watch on HBO Max. And if you watch it, maybe they'll leave it up there and not get rid of it for a tax write-off someday.
Yeah, you'll never get a second season, but you might not lose access to the first.
You might not lose access to the first season, because that's the weird world we live in.
Well, and as I mentioned last month on the Vault of Darkness, sometimes it's actually cheaper to buy the physical media for some of these things than it is to worry about it going away. So. Yeah.
It's very rare HBO makes DVDs anymore.
Oh,
like
is it?
they do for like House of the Dragon, because they already had them for Game of Thrones.
Gotcha.
But a lot of shows don't get made, and it's even rarer for Disney Plus to put out DVDs of something.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like, yes, all it could always go the way of Willow, just disappear and you never see it.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank you for joining the Nightshade Cult.
Until we meet again, we're wishing you unpleasant dreams.